Chef Nippard says this is an awesome glute exercise, but I'm gonna disagree. So let's watch and then I'll tell you why.
Let's finish with the least known exercise on my list. This is the seated cable deadlift. I think this is an awesome glute and hamstring exercise, and I have no idea why more people don't do it. Because your hips are fixed, with your glutes planted on the bench, you're a lot more stable, and you won't fry your back, core, and quads nearly as much. If you do them right, you'll get a glute pump like you've never felt before.
All right, so this is basically the motion. It's an attempt to hinge at the hips in a seated position with the cable pulling forward. So on the surface, it kind of just looks like a normal hinge. But there's a very key difference here between this and a normal RDL. So just to simplify things, here's a pelvis and here's a leg. When you sit down on something and a cable pulls you forward, yes, the cable is pulling your hips like this through your spine. But there is also a force from your hips upward, which is keeping you down into the seat. In other words, your pelvis needs to rotate like this. But this motion is interfered by the fact that you're sitting down on something and you have body weight in this direction. So if you have a massive torso, then there's going to be a lot of weight that is pushing you down, which prevents your pelvis from actually being able to slide. In other words, the motion that you're trying to create is interfered with by what you're sitting on. And if you have a massive torso and you're putting all that weight down onto your butt, it's going to be very difficult for you to actually create motion at the hip joint, which is why if everything from here to here is relatively fixed, a lot of the motion actually has to occur through the lower segments of the spine. So in order for you to really target your glutes with an exercise like this, number one, you need a relatively smaller amount of body weight pushing you downward. Number two, you need an anatomy down here, if you know what I mean, that allows you to actually slide. And number three, probably most importantly, you need to be wearing shorts or pants that allow you to actually slide on the bench you're using. So given that, to me, it's actually kind of hard to make this a glute dominant exercise without having to really think about exactly what you're doing. I would just recommend one of those 45-degree extension machines, which ironically is called the back extension, because it allows you to fix your femur over top of which you can actually move your pelvis without your pelvis getting interfered with by the pad. So is this exercise bad? I don't think so. I just think it's more for lower back than for glutes.